Exactly.
Welcome everyone to 1021 Magazine's official media coverage. This is the Sunday to Sunday series of the coverage for the coronavirus. And I thank you so much for locking in with me all week. We tried, myself and 1021 Media Group, to do varied media coverage. Many of us, we're live here with a breaking news happening from the United States. So that's what you hear in the background. And right now, what we're seeing in the headlines is there is a push for unproven drug for the virus, and this is trying to be pushed through the Trump administration. And we have the doctor speaking, and they also have the numbers on the screen for this live event. If you're watching it, we are watching it live as well, myself and all other senior editors and interns who are safely quarantined, and we're doing our research through our own manner of resources and through other outside sources that we have been in communications with for decades. So we have some really solid sources up in the Capitol and in key places. What we try to do is varied coverage, and a lot of us, we are live remoting from the comfort of our homes or wherever we are, and it's just been my pleasure to bring in the research and the points of views all week. So today, this Sunday, which is also Palm Sunday, happy Palm Sunday to everyone. We thank you so much for locking in to our coverage. This has been an emotional week for a lot of people, and we say this with all sincerity. You have many people who are very, very scared. I think none of us are without any emotions, but you have many people who are very, very scared. This could be people who live alone, elderly, all age groups, and you do have the right to be concerned, but the light that I've seen this week with the numbers, we started looking at the numbers by the numbers, the amount of those who contracted the coronavirus versus the amount who died from the coronavirus, contracted and recovered versus contracted and died. There are many degrees of separations, many. You have a big number of survival versus deaths. And again, as I've said all week, we're not trying to minimize anyone who has died from the coronavirus, because people are dying daily from this. We definitely want people to understand that. And some people who don't take this as seriously, I still say either they're going to wake up on their own to just, it kicks in that this is very serious and that you should still social distance, you should still practice quarantine unless you have to, imperative have to go out. It's not going to click in for a lot of people until maybe they see the death come close to home. It shouldn't have to kick in and click in for you to take this seriously. But over that number of those who are not taking it seriously, we do have a big degree of separation for those who are taking this seriously. We'll go through these numbers again, and this is going to be from a, if we could get it on. Sometimes we've been having technical difficulties, so if I can't get those, particular numbers on, then I'll just keep moving. But we're seeing where the White House is trying to push a vaccine that has been unproven to combat the coronavirus. We still are going to be doing coverage, But for this series will end tonight. I think a lot of people are being optimistic about this, but then there's so much that we don't know about this particular unproven drug that is supposed to combat the coronavirus. And it is very, very dangerous to give that to human beings if it doesn't have more of the pros than the cons and the risk. Because right now, they keep saying that we have to flatten the curve. And the curve does have to be flattened, but we don't want to do testings on human beings and we don't know what the outcome could be. All right, so we're going to look at by the numbers here. And we're going to update. And from yesterday, the changes, of course, are there, but not at a significant rate that is overwhelming from what it was. In the entire world, the coronavirus cases are at 1,272,737, and it was like 1,100 yesterday. It was like 40-something thousand as far as deaths over the entire country. And today is 69,418. Recovered, 261,485. The active cases is currently infected patients, 941,834. 95% are in mild condition, 896,215 of the 941,834, and 45,619 is in serious or critical condition, and that's 5% for critical and serious, and 95% for mild condition. If we could keep steady those numbers, then that curve would definitely be flattened. Closed cases, where the cases had an outcome, was 390,903. Deaths were 21%, 69,418, which is what I read earlier. And recovered and discharged is 261,485, 79%. So we are still having those who have contracted the coronavirus and they are recovering more than just straight death and no recovery. Also, we have gotten in more reports that people that we know close to us who are in the New York area, some doctors have died from taking care of patients. So we send our heartfelt condolences to them for that. I would highly suggest to everyone that you watch your preferred local news source for any breaking news. Also your online, offline sources, as well as the wider, bigger markets like your MSNBCs, your CNNs, if you have the access to that. If you don't have access to those cable channels that usually report all through the night with some replays until the shows go live again, you can always listen to the radio. And the radios, they are on 24/7 broadcast, and you can go through AM and FM to see who is still talking about the different breaking news and stuff like that. You can also check your online and offline sources as well. And of course, we will be doing our coverage here at 1021 Magazine. Okay, so those are the numbers, and I still say through our research, the virus is a strong indicator of going through its metamorphosis of the bubonic plague, and that there were different cases happening through the 90s, 2014 when Duke Medical did their research, and then even as up to 2019, where a couple, due to cultural folklore, they ate the organs of an animal and died. And we're definitely dealing with this whole bacteria vibration, and that's why we definitely need to look to scientists, bacteriologists, as well as the medical professions to somehow look from the past of the vaccines there and then come up with something for this. Now, there are some states that are more impacted than others. I do feel that we need to be on a more unified basis for all states to be unified and do the same thing for less impact. Just because the numbers aren't high in your state, high in another, you don't want this to still get out of control. It just may not have reached yet. They keep talking about a peak, and they're saying we should brace for a peak. For good vibes and positivity, we have not seen this estimation of a peak yet of deaths, and that is a good thing that we have not seen. So what we're going to do now is see how our leaders are going to come together and be more unified in the way every state is taking care of their own, but coming together so it can be a cohesive instructions for everyone. Because if you have instructions over here and then you're not mandating them over here, then you're putting the whole entire United States at risk and the world. It needs to be some type of unified foundation for every governor to come together and say the stay at home, and we mean this, and mandate it and come together. Because if you're laxed and you're more stringent, then that's going to trickle down, and eventually it's going to be more stringent times and more cases happening. We cannot stress this enough that social distancing is a must. Now, myself being quarantined in, and I try to be more quarantined than out and only stepping out when I need to. And for the last few times stepping out, I have only gone to pick up things that I needed to, but I wasn't around anyone, so as not to compromise myself or compromise anyone, since they're saying we don't know who is asymptomatic or not. Every time you step outside, you are putting yourself at risk for a virus that has not been contained and still trying to find the workings for that. So when you can self-quarantine more, this is respect for your life more than anything else. While I was out, I saw a lot of people who were not social distancing. People were still in groups. People were laughing, talking, and all that good stuff. That is good stuff for the normal. But we're now in a new normal now where people need to be a lot less hands-on and take this virus seriously. And we owe it to our medical professionals and all of those on the front lines who are putting themselves at risk, and those who are helping to keep the world going, who have to go to the essentials jobs, who have to be on the front lines for law and order, who have to be there for different sectors that keeps this world going. And we owe it to them, and we owe it to ourselves to do what we need to do to less impact the situation. So we're going to get off of that, and I thank you so much for locking in. We will have more coverage to come, but I wish everyone a great Palm Sunday, and we are going to be coming back with some more good vibes right here tonight for giving some tips for those who are in quarantine and for those who are doing their very best in these uncertain and unexpected times. We're going to lighten the mood here to round out the series. We're going to be giving some good affirmations. We're going to have some good music. We're going to have some detailed information for you to think about some things that you can get that will help you through this quarantine. So I'm BEBE Davis for 1021 Magazine publisher and founder, and I thank you so much for locking in. Come on back, because we're about to make it a little bit more mellow and a little bit more zen and just a feel-good vibration to close out this series. You can follow 1021 Magazine on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and right here on the official YouTube. We will start being more interactive on Twitter, where we will have a live feed going and doing our commentary. And of course, we will pick back up a different series after the Easter holidays. But you can still catch our updates on our social media platforms. Thank you for locking in, and more to come.